Nottingham Forest are probably going to get relegated. Yes, I am back with another Nottingham Forest head loss video. This time we're coming off the back of a 1-0 loss to Brighton, with the relegation zone creeping ever closer. Like I said, we have just lost 1-0 to Brighton. Now the scoreline probably flatters us because we were terrible. The failure to pick up any points on the coast leaves Luton 3 points behind us after they drew Palace in London. And we've only really got ourselves to blame. You know, we've thrown away multiple opportunities to distance ourselves from the relegation zone, but each week, without fail, we've thrown away those opportunities. This match was another example of that. Brighton are a team that are coming off the back of an absolute domination in Europe against Roma and had a lot of important players out injured. And this was a Forest side that have very few injury problems, and we played no midweek football, so realistically we should be fit and firing and ready to go, ready to attack this team and exploit the fact that they've played midweek football, but we did none of that. And it all started before kick-off. So Nuno decided to do some cooking with his lineup this time, and there's some very questionable choices to face Brighton. The most glaring issues, shall we say, were Elanga and Hudson-Odoi dropping to the bench for some bizarre reason. If you've watched any Nottingham Forest game this season, I do apologise, but they've been some of our most consistent attacking threats for the entire season, and without them we don't look good, and that has been shown multiple times this season as well. And today was another example of that. 10 of our last 17 Premier League goals have involved either Hudson-Odoi or Elanga, so it just shows how crucial to our attack they are. And again, from kickoff it could be seen that our attack had largely been weakened without those players playing. I'm not sure what formation Nuno was playing. Journalists and FotMob say very different things, so I really don't know if it was Dominguez on the wing with Origi or if it was Gibbs-White on the wing with Origi. I really don't know. Gibbs-White should be played centrally. We know this, we've been through this, so I hope he was being played centrally, but I really have no idea. But it's not just the players we chose to play. Like, our game management as a whole today was shocking. Nuno did bring Elanga and Hudson-Odoi on, but in my opinion it was far too late for them to actually make an impact. They should have started for sure, or at the very least he should have brought them on at half-time, as he's been known to do. He's made many half-time substitutions, but for some reason, for this game, he decided not to, which was very, very strange. I thought, after watching that very boring first half, that we'd see Elanga and Hudson-Odoi, or at least one of them, come on at half-time, but no, we didn't make any changes until the 60th minute, I believe. So, yeah, terrible management in my opinion. So, you know, Hudson-Odoi, Elanga, Awoniyi, they all came on. We looked a little bit better in attack, but again, we really didn't create anything. We looked very lacklustre in attack, and, well, just over the whole field, to be fair, we just didn't look at the races. But then comes the final substitution that Nuno made. 87 minutes. He decides to bring off Morgan Gibbs-White, who was one of our only players trying to make attacking moves, and he was definitely a catalyst for any attacks that we did have. And he brought on Cheikhou Kouyaté, not known for his attacking prowess, but he did score 2 goals in training, so what do I know? So we had 3 minutes of normal time to go, plus 6 minutes added on, to try and score a goal and level things up. And he took off Morgan Gibbs-White, our attacking catalyst. Why? It really doesn't make sense. I don't know what Nuno was thinking with that substitution, but he handled this game horribly. And again, right, Forest have not scored a goal in extra time this season. I'm fairly certain we don't have an extra time goal this season. We've never won a game in extra time, I know that much. And I mean, look, as soon as it goes into like 5 minutes from time and we've not scored a goal, I resign myself to the fact that we're not scoring for the rest of the match, because we just don't have that in us, apparently. I can't think of a single Premier League game where we have scored in extra time, which is embarrassing, because we should be fighting till the end, till the final whistle, not just until the 90 minutes. We need to go that extra mile, but we just don't. And it is seen as failed to pick up points, which could prove to be vital at the end of the season. We're in a relegation scrap, for crying out loud. We need any points we can get, and we need players to fight until the very, very end. But that wasn't the worst part of the game, no. The worst part has been, I can't even call it defending, our handling of set pieces. Now, this isn't just this game, although Brighton did score from a set piece, though it was given as an own goal for Omar Dele. Yeah, set pieces. We're terrible at both taking and defending them. I don't know how one team can be so bad at both aspects of a set piece. It has been shit all season. We've conceded a lot of set piece goals, and every game, whenever someone gets a corner, they are likely to score. If we get a corner, it's likely to do nothing. It's just, again, it's embarrassing. You know, with the amount of set piece goals we've conceded, you'd have thought that we'd have focused on that defensive aspect in training. But then you've got to realise that it would also be Forest players taking those set pieces. So really, we're training defending set pieces against awful set pieces. So really, we're shooting ourselves in the foot anyway. We don't have a good set piece taker. I know Morgan Gibbs-White is our designated set piece man, but his set pieces haven't been brilliant recently. I mean, they've not been great all season, if I'm honest. And I love Morgan. I think he's a brilliant player and a brilliant just human in general, but his set pieces haven't been it, man. They've really not been good, just to put it lightly. But we do need to mention our performance, though, or our performances. As I mentioned today, you know, it was a good opportunity to play Brighton. They had players out, and they played midweek football, so they should have been a bit more tired than us. But the players just didn't look arsed. Like, as soon as that goal went in, heads dropped, and that was that. It was very disappointing to see, and honestly, it created a very boring game because Brighton just kicked the ball around, and we offered very little in attack. There just looked like there was very little desire to score a goal and to give us a fighting chance of taking something from this game. It's been a reoccurring problem this season, under both Cooper and Nuno, that there's many times this season and last season as well, where we've played a team, but we were the team on the front foot. You know, they'd been suffered from injuries. They'd played midweek football. You know, they were missing their best players. Just something like that has happened to many teams who we've played this season, and each and every time we've bottled it. I think the only time we haven't bottled it would be Manchester United, when we played them in the league at the City Ground with Højlund missing out through illness. That's the only game I can think of where we capitalised on a team's injury problems. You could argue Newcastle as well. They've had a lot of injuries this season, but yeah, I can't think of many games, if any, really, that we've capitalised on a team's injury problems or fixture congestion. You know, we just always seem to bottle it. Just seems like a real mentality issue that we've had at the club for a few seasons now. Not even just in the Premier League, but even in the Championship, we've shown that, I guess, weak mentality. We did go up, but again, we lost games to teams that we should have been beating then, and we continue to do that now. Now, I know football is a game where anything can happen, but it's happened a lot to us, and I think mentality is the biggest culprit of that. There have been many matches this season where the team just hasn't looked bothered, and that was under Cooper, and it hasn't changed under Nuno, really. I've seen, you know, the training footage where the team looks very together. They look like they're bonding. They've obviously gelled together really well. Training's going really well, but then you look at the match and they just don't look bothered. Like, there's a massive example of that was this game. If you look at the training footage, you know, everyone's having fun, loving life, and then you go to the game and it's just dead. Like, what's going on? This club desperately needs a mentality change, and I know these things are hard to implement, but we need a mentality change or we're just going to regress. And that's what's happened this season as well, because the mentality hasn't really changed. In our last 3 matches, we played Brighton, Liverpool and Man United in the FA Cup. Each team was missing loads of important players, just really didn't have the upper hand. Like, Liverpool and Man United, you know, we're the underdogs coming to these fixtures, but Brighton, I'd say we're pretty level on. But as I said, you know, each team was missing important players and were just really, Forest had the upper hand. And in those 3 games, Forest failed to score a goal. Yes, this was Man United with a ramshackled back line. This was Liverpool with their second choice keeper, and again, fairly solid defence, you know, pretty solid defence from them, but it wasn't Alisson. And then Brighton, you know, Brighton had played midweek football and were missing some players too. And yet we failed to score a single goal in each of those matches. We just need to put some power on our shots, man. We're letting P-rollers in. I guarantee we would have scored against Liverpool if Gibbs-White put some power behind his shot. But that's neither here nor there. You know, the game's in the past. We can't do anything to change that. I would be remiss not to mention the shambolic refereeing this season. If you picked a random Forest fan on the street and asked, what is the main issue this season, over 90% would say refereeing or officiating, because it has been shit. Not just for us, for the whole entire league, it has been awful. We need to start importing good referees and bringing the officiating on level with the best league in the world, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not claiming corruption, because that is a very big claim to make, and I've seen some people making it, and I can see their reasoning, but I don't think it is corruption. But even though the officiating has been shit, you know, Forest have been on the end of the most shocking officiating decisions I've seen this season. Now, yes, I watch Forest more than any other team, but still, it looks like we're getting shafted more than any other team. Brighton should have been down to 10 men with this horror tackle, but Forest showed no attacking intent anyway, so it's likely that would not have changed things. So yeah, if Brighton went down to 10 men, it probably wouldn't have changed anything. You know, they managed the game better than us. Deserve would have pulled some brilliant substitution out, and it would have made no difference. Liverpool, you know, there was that disaster where the ball was given back to Liverpool after a Liverpool player went down, but Forest had possession beforehand. Again, would that have changed the outcome of the game? Possibly, but at the end of the day, Liverpool's goal was the result of some shocking defending. You could argue it came from them getting the ball, but we gave them the corner in the first place. So I don't really think it matters if we got the ball back or not. You could argue that yes, we could have scored if we got the ball back. You know, we were in a good attacking position, but from the quality of shots we took in that match, we didn't look like scoring anyway. And with the way we were playing, Liverpool probably would have got the ball back anyway and gone up and scored. So either way, yes, the officiating was shocking and did affect the match, but I don't think it's to blame for us not picking up a point in that match. I mean, it could take partial blame, definitely, but we defended like shit. We should have just cleared the ball and been done with it, and it would have been 0-0. But we didn't, because we're shit with set pieces. Anyway, I just wanted to speak about what I've been feeling with Forest. It's been this way for a few weeks now. Yeah, we don't feel like we're in a good place at the moment. I'll say that, and I know a lot of people agree with the sentiment. They may think it's down to different reasons, but ultimately, a lot of people agree it's not looking good for us. Forest play Luton next weekend, and I'm really not looking forward to it. You know, the Hatters play well at Kenilworth Road, and we look far too soft to really even challenge them in their own backyard. They also drew with us at the City Ground after some disastrous Steve Cooper substitutions, so, you know, that will also be hanging over us, I reckon. It's really not looking good, bruv, and Nuno needs to sort out his ideas before we go to Kenilworth Road. If he sets up like he did against Brighton, we're finished. He needs to have a look at his team and just really, you know, play the best 11 each week, because that's what we need to do to survive. Play your best 11 and pray. That's all we can do. We are at massive risk of going down, and realistically, we only have ourselves to blame. We failed to pick up points when the teams below us have also failed to pick up points, and we've just put ourselves in this mess. So, yes, we can blame the refereeing, but ultimately, we've not picked up the points when we needed to, and we've only got ourselves to blame. So yes, I've been O2GT, and we're going to be watching Forest in the Championship next season. Fucking hell, man.